You are sitting on the couch. Your cat is next to you, your dog is at your feet, maybe a bird is watching from across the room. And you pick up your phone. You stare at it, you tap it, you hold it up in front of your face, you talk to it, you laugh at it, sometimes you cry at it, you sleep next to it, you panic when you cannot find it. And your pet watches all of this, every single day. Now here is the question your pet cannot ask but probably should. What is that thing? Not what do we know it is, but what does an animal with no concept of screens, internet, social media, or electricity actually make of this glowing rectangle that its human is obsessed with? To us, a phone is everything: communication, entertainment, work, memory, identity. To an animal, it is something else entirely. And figuring out what that something is might reveal more about how animals understand our world than almost any other question we could ask. To understand how animals experience phones, we first need to understand how they experience the world. Animals do not read, they do not watch YouTube, they have no concept of apps, messages, or why a small rectangle would make a human laugh or cry. But animals are extraordinarily good at reading behavior. Not words, not screens, behavior. They watch what you do with your body, where your eyes go, how your breathing changes, whether you are tense or relaxed, whether you are paying attention to them or to something else. And phones do something that almost nothing else in human history has done. Phones make humans disappear without leaving. You are physically present, but your eyes are elsewhere, your attention is elsewhere, your voice is directed somewhere that the animal cannot see or smell or find. From an animal's perspective, this is genuinely strange. You are there, but somehow you are not there. And different animals interpret that strangeness in very different ways. What your dog thinks the phone is. Dogs are social creatures built entirely around attention and connection. For a dog, the most important resource in the world is not food, it is not territory, it is your focus. When you look at your dog, give it attention, talk to it, play with it, that is the currency your dog runs on. And then you pick up your phone. Your eyes drop, your voice either goes silent or starts talking to something your dog cannot locate. Your hand, which normally might pet or gesture, is now occupied holding a glowing object. You stop responding to the dog's signals. To a dog, this looks like social withdrawal. Not punishment, not anger, just absence. Research has shown that dogs respond to phone use the way they respond to being ignored. They may nudge your hand, they may put their head in your lap, they may sit and stare at you with an intensity that becomes hard to ignore. The dog is not jealous of the phone exactly. It does not understand what the phone is. What it understands is that the phone has taken you somewhere it cannot follow. And to a dog built on connection, that somewhere is the most confusing place in the world. What your cat thinks the phone is. Cats are different. Cats do not require your constant attention the way dogs do. They are comfortable with silence, with distance, with doing their own thing. But cats are intensely curious about objects. A new object in their environment is a potential threat, a potential toy, or something that needs to be thoroughly investigated and then sat on. Your phone qualifies for all three categories at different times. The screen light interests cats. Studies have found that cats are attracted to moving images on screens, particularly small moving objects that trigger their hunting instinct. Some cats will actively swipe at phones showing videos of birds or mice. To a cat, a screen showing a moving animal may register as a window into another space, a place where prey exists but cannot be caught. A deeply frustrating situation for an animal whose entire evolutionary history is built on the idea that if you can see it, you can catch it. And then there is the camera. When you point your phone at your cat, you are doing something no other predator in nature does. You are staring at it with a flat, unblinking rectangular eye. To a cat that reads eye contact as a social signal, this is unusual. Some cats look away, some approach the phone with extreme caution, some simply refuse to acknowledge it exists. To your cat, your phone may be many things: an occasional prey simulation, a bizarre social signal, a competitor for your attention that occasionally wins. What birds think the phone is? Birds, particularly parrots and corvids, may have the most sophisticated response to phones of any animal. Parrots have been observed responding to video calls. When their owner's face appeared on a screen, some parrots approached the screen, made eye contact, and vocalized as if the person were actually present. This is remarkable. It suggests that parrots can recognize a face on a two-dimensional screen and connect it to the three-dimensional person they know. They are not just seeing a glowing rectangle, they are seeing you just in a strange, flattened form. Crows go even further. Crows have been documented using tools, solving multi-step problems, and remembering individual human faces for years. A crow that has watched humans use phones regularly may begin to understand that the phone is associated with human communication and behavior changes. Whether a crow fully understands what a phone is, probably not, but it almost certainly understands what a phone does to you. It makes you stop, it makes you look down, it changes your behavior in predictable ways. And to a crow, predictable behavior patterns are information. What wild animals think phones are. Now move beyond pets. Think about wild animals encountering phones for the first time. Monkeys and apes have been observed stealing phones from tourists, not because they understand what phones are, but because phones are shiny, they make sounds, and humans clearly value them enormously. An animal that steals what humans protect is acting on a very old instinct. If this thing is important enough to guard, it is worth investigating. Some monkeys have been photographed accidentally taking selfies, pressing the shutter button while exploring the device. They were not trying to document themselves, they were pressing things to see what happened. In safari parks and wildlife areas, researchers have noticed that many animals no longer flee from humans holding phones the way they flee from humans holding other objects. Animals seem to sense that a phone-holding human is distracted, passive, and non-threatening. The phone has inadvertently become a signal of human harmlessness. To a wild animal, a human staring down at a glowing rectangle is a human not paying attention. And a human not paying attention is a much safer human to be near. Here is what makes this question stranger than it first appears. Phones are only about 15 years old as a daily constant in human life. Animals have been adapting to human behavior for thousands of years. Dogs have had millennia to learn our body language. Cats have had centuries to learn our routines. But phone behavior is brand new. No animal alive today has ancestors who adapted to humans staring at small glowing rectangles for 6 hours a day. Which means every pet, every wild animal, every creature that shares space with humans is encountering phone behavior completely fresh, without any evolutionary preparation, without any instinctual framework to make sense of it. They are improvising. And what they are producing: jealous nudges, screen swipes, stolen selfies, cautious approaches, is real-time animal cognition trying to make sense of something no animal brain was ever built to understand. That is not confusion. That is intelligence working at its limit. We spend a lot of time wondering what animals think about us. We imagine they see us as pack leaders, as giant awkward predators, as the creatures who control the food. But our pets are watching something newer now. They are watching a species that built an entire civilization, developed language, art, science, and agriculture, and then became collectively transfixed by a rectangle of glass. They watch us ignore meals because of it, ignore each other because of it, ignore them because of it. They cannot understand what is inside the phone, but they can understand what the phone does to us. It takes us away. And for an animal whose entire relationship with you is built on your presence, on your eyes, your voice, your attention, that disappearance may be the strangest thing about modern humans. Not our buildings, not our cars, not our strange hairless bodies. Just the fact that we can be sitting right there and somehow still be gone.